What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me in the North Lake area of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I come with some exciting news that Rivian has upgraded their dispensers here, and this site is open to all EVs. But unfortunately, it's not all good news. So as I mentioned, they've upgraded their dispensers here. So this is at an REI. There's a Target, all that fun stuff around here. We've been to this site before, including when it was under construction, and they've upgraded the dispensers at the site. They're actually white in real life, not the flashing lights. Really wish Rivian would fix whatever's causing that. I think just the refresh rate, but whatever. That's not what we're here to talk about today. They have replaced their dispensers here. They originally had their version 1 Rivian Adventure Network dispensers here, which were only for use with Rivian vehicles. So that means that only Rivians could charge here, as pretty obvious. But they're replaced with these. They're taller. They're actually very tall. They're like the same height as Tesla's version 4 posts, which we'll get to in just a minute here, because there's actually some right over there, which you can kind of see peeking out. Same capabilities as far as power. These are still 300 kilowatts max. Let's see here. So 300 kilowatts max, 500 amps. So nothing too crazy there. That's still the same as before. They look nice, just like before. They do have a bit longer cables. I'm not sure exactly how much longer, probably a meter longer if I had to guess. They probably went from 2-ish meters to 3-ish meters long cables. I'm not entirely sure, but they're longer so they can reach more charge port locations, which is a good thing as they're opening these to more vehicles. However, as I mentioned, it's not all good news. And the bad news here is that the pricing on these stations is nuts. And this seems to be a problem across a lot of these Rivian Adventure Network sites that they've opened to both Rivians and non-Rivians. Here you can see 55 cents per kilowatt hour for Rivian vehicles, or 65 cents per kilowatt hour for non-Rivian vehicles, which if you're in California, that seems relatively reasonable. The Rivian price and even the non-Rivian price might seem reasonable. But in the Carolinas, that's very expensive. And I'm going to prove that to you by showing you the prices of the Tesla supercharger right over there. And before you guys start attacking me for comparing pricing across charging operators, there are a few valid cases for comparing pricing of charging operators. And the main case that you can actually compare them directly is when they're essentially at the same site. If you're comparing two sites that are in the same town but may not be on the same utility, that's not really comparable because the cost of that electricity could be significantly different. However, this site has the same grid operator, which is Duke Energy, and there are two sites basically across the parking lot from each other. They're, I don't know, 200 or 300 feet apart, which they're going to see the same traffic and in theory would have similar utilization if the pricing was similar, I think. But you saw the pricing there for Rivian and non-Rivian drivers. Let me show you the pricing for the Tesla superchargers for both Tesla drivers, non-Tesla drivers without membership, so just paying as they go, and for non-Tesla drivers with membership, which gets you the same price as Tesla drivers. And again, just for reference, here's the Rivian site. We're going to turn around here. There's the REI. And there are the Tesla stalls. So there are 24 stalls there. They had an original 12-stall supercharger, and then they went and added another 12. So it's now 24 stall. All of them are open to all EVs, and 12 of them are the version 4 posts with the longer cable, and then 12 of them are the older version 3 posts with the shorter cables. But any of them will work great for Tesla drivers, and 12 of them will work great for any EV. Just for sake of shooting this video, I took some screenshots just to be able to more easily show you the difference in pricing here. So here we have that supercharger right there. You can see 45 cents per kilowatt hour during the peak time. So that's 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 26 cents per kilowatt hour during non-peak times. These are the prices for non-Tesla, non-membership pricing. So this is what I would pay in my F-150 Lightning with plug-in charge on the Tesla superchargers right there, which is 20 cents less per kilowatt hour during peak times, or almost 40 cents, 39 cents cheaper, less than half the price during off-peak times of 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. For reference there, again, the Rivian charging prices. And then here we have the Rivian or the membership pricing, 35 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you were a Ford driver, for example, that had the Tesla membership, and you pulled up here and you used the Tesla app to activate, you would be paying almost half during peak times compared to the Rivian chargers. Or even if you were a Rivian driver and you were charging at the supercharger, you'd be saving 20 cents per kilowatt hour during peak times if you had the Tesla membership, or even more during off-peak times, down to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you have a Tesla membership and you're charging here off-peak hours with a non-Tesla, you would be paying less than 1/3 the price at 20 cents per kilowatt hour versus 65 cents per kilowatt hour at the Rivian Adventure Network site. These chargers are at the same location. Here we have a Equinox charging here, and I'm probably going to have to give them the news, but they may not have an adapter. So there is that factor. And let me talk about a couple use cases that you may want to use these chargers instead of the superchargers. So there are two reasons that you may want to use the Rivian Adventure Network stalls instead of the Tesla Supercharger Network, aside from price. One, the Rivian Adventure Network stalls have CCS, so if you don't have an adapter for your non-Tesla vehicle, then that's what you have to use. Even though those are version 4 posts on the Tesla Supercharger, the Magic Docks are not activated. So if you don't have a NACS to CCS adapter for your non-Tesla, you have to use the Rivian Adventure Network here to charge, or you won't be able to charge. And then the other case that it may make sense is if you have a high voltage vehicle. So if you have an EV6, an EV9, one of those eGMP vehicles from Kia or Hyundai, if you have a Porsche Taycan, Audi e-tron GT, something like that with a higher voltage, so over 500 volts, these will charge you significantly faster because these will do full up to, I believe, 920 volts, 1,000 volts, something like that, higher voltage, to be able to charge significantly faster than on the Tesla Supercharger network, which is limited to 500 volts. Anyway, just wanted to highlight this example of kind of extreme difference in pricing. I've been seeing this a couple other spots around the country with the Rivian Adventure Network sites and Tesla Superchargers near each other, and really thought that this was important to highlight. I think Rivian really needs to look at their competitors in the area on pricing, because if they don't, their utilization is going to drop, and then they're going to have to keep increasing prices, because the lower the utilization, the higher it actually costs to operate a DC fast charger, because regardless of how many kilowatt hour you're delivering, you likely have a similar demand charge, which the more kilowatt hour you sell, the more kilowatt hour you can spread that demand charge per month over, and the less it actually costs you per kilowatt hour sold. So it's a little bit of a complicated thing to explain how pricing at DC fast chargers works, but demand charges are a fairly large factor, less here in the Southeast than in other regions of the country because we have fairly low demand charges. But the lower the utilization, the higher the demand charge per session effectively, and the more you have to charge. So you really, really want as high of utilization at a DC fast charging site as you can manage, because that's how you will also reduce your cost of kilowatt hour that you're selling. Anyway, if you guys found this video helpful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below with your thoughts. I'll see you guys on the next one.